Hey, and welcome back to the Blue Tiger Poker 10K Challenge. So again, we're back on Bovada another night. Imagine that, right? Playing some 100 NL, and we're just up here waiting on the blinds, getting some other tables in, and we'll go over the hand where we kind of almost doubled up here in just in a minute. It was pretty much blind versus blind, but this player 5, in just watching like maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 hands, he was involved in all of them, and he was being super aggressive, and we'll kind of go over that hand in just a second. But it looks like we got some pocket 9s up here, so looks like these guys have been pretty loose. I like to go ahead and just raise in this position. I don't like to call out of position with these unless we were very deep. And if player 6 probably would shove here, we might end up folding, but he ends up flat calling. So it's given the odds of 1, so we didn't get what we wanted, so we're going to hope to hit a decent hand here. And that's nowhere close to what we wanted. There's not much we can do here. I mean, his stack size and everything, we were hoping because he was there and this guy was there that we were... so here's our buddy again, and he just shoved. Unfortunately, we got our jacks. He's going to probably have an over. Nope, he has 7s, so he might hit it here. So we ended up getting him again. He's really overplayed. And then the 4th club comes, which makes it really crappy in our hand. So we actually won with the 9s. It's amazing. That board should have hit his calling range all day long. So very interesting. We'll probably pull that hand up too. But our other hand, very quickly, you've seen that guy, so we can look at that hand before it goes away. But it's basically pre-flop, he raised it to $4, which was larger than I would recommend. And as you guys see, it was 5s against 6s. So I raised him. He then just did this little, not even a min raise, so it was a little odd, is the reason he made a weird raise, is what I'm kind of saying. So we basically re-raised him, and then he basically called it off there, and we was kind of happy when we seen the cards flipped over. But he was playing that weird style beforehand, the whole rotation around the table. He was doing that, and as you've seen, he just flat shoved $30 into a pot where, you know, he could at least seen the flop or raised it up a little bit. But, you know, when you do that kind of thing, you know, usually you're going to get called off by somebody who's got a better hand or a stronger hand at that point. Now the 6s, I wasn't too happy when he kind of called the end, but at that point I decided I was taking my hand with him. If he had 2 overs, he had 2 overs, and we were flipping at that time. But when we flipped over the cards, we had the best that we could hope for at that time. We are going to well, we got through 3-bet. We're just going to flat call. We got the button. I don't mind this. And if it gets to be a 3-way pot, we can play. The pot's going to be small with this guy. We have the jack of hearts, so it'd be interesting if he bets here. We might call 1 just to see if he shuts down. And again, you know, the pot was already small, so us calling here is not going to be much. But we're going to kind of act like we're going to float to see what he does here on the next. So if he bets again, it's the likelihood he's got an ace. I don't think this guy's played that many hands, just in a little bit we've been on here. Bet half pot. That's a bet that I'm gonna actually what's the word? Respect. There we go. Boy, having a rough day. It seems like just trying to find my words throughout the whole day. But we're gonna respect that bet because, you know, if he bet closer to pot, he might be trying to run out the flush draw or something like that. But we would definitely probably call again to see what he does on the river, because the river there's a lot of card. You know, if another heart comes off and he checks, we could probably bet there. And I'm assuming this is a new guy. It came in the seat number 1. So if the guy shoved, we would probably fold it or threes. But if it was the same old guy, about any pocket pair I have, I'm probably going to call him off. Just because how idiotic he's been playing. I mean, unfortunately for our threes in that position, he would have been pretty much a coin flip with about any hand he had, unless he had pocket twos. You know, if he had like an ace-2 or something like that, it'd be a little different. We flopped this. There's no reason to bet. We're just going to get him to fold out, and he's only in the hands we beat, and then any hand that he's got us, he's going to call or raise. So we're actually going to pot control, and then we'll probably small bet the river here. With the 10 coming out, that might be a card where he might call a little bet here. We're only going to call because this guy is double deep too, and this guy is. So if it gets to be a three-way pot, this guy might try to steal it here. But our Jack 9 is going to play very good in that. And I totally missed out what happened over here. Did the guy call us? Calls. Bets. No, he folded. I was just wondering what he actually did. Totally was talking about the reason we were going to play our Jack 9 out of position to this guy who hasn't really played a hand. And it's because we're so deep, both of us, so we can play this hand very profitably. And on this table over here, this, I think if player 4 was said now before, this was a mistake not to open raise our king queen, but if he was actually in, he looks like he's setting out now, so we're going to assume he was setting out, so it was a mistake. We probably should have opened this, especially with the guy here, but we would have probably got 3-bet by player 2 if he had pocket queens over there. But again, it was a mistake just because with this guy setting out, that means we didn't have all the people at the table we had originally. So we can go around the table here. So we'll start out on the one we're actually on, the queen 9 here. We're of course folding to those bet size. But player 6 is the fishiest player at the table. Player 1 is pretty solid. In a sense, is he's not playing too many hands, and you know he's somewhat aggressive when he does, and he seems to be. I don't even know if he's c-bet, but right now we're going to give him a little respect. Player 2 and player 3 are pretty much about the same. Player 2 is passive, and player 3 is aggressive. If I remember, player 2 with that ace, he got aggressive. He was somewhat betting on that heart flop with the ace, but I think he's only going to do so. I mean, there he didn't get too frisky with his ace jack. You would think at least with a decent kicker, you may want to bet for value there on the river. And then player 4 hasn't played a hand. And then our table over here where we're up, these two guys, the player 3 is super. I don't think he's even played but maybe 2 hands since we've been here. So he got all his stack, and then player 4. So we're going to assume that they probably got their money from the goober guy that gave us our stack, because they're both not doing anything crazy. It seems like they're waiting on hands and picking their spots right. Player 5 is tighter side, but he hardly ever raises, so he's more of a calling. He likes to see flop, but he's not playing a lot of cards, so his hands are going to be more defined for us when we play him. And then player 6 is new, and then player 1 is another short stacker that hadn't really opened a pot yet. He's just called people's bets. And then down here, let's see, we had to open early. We're gonna get out of this again. This table down here is we got player 5 and player 6 both setting at a weird stack size, so that's right there. Just tells you they don't have it all together in their game. And player 6 has played a lot of pots, probably around half, and then player 4 down here is very tight. I think this is the first hand we've seen him play out of all the rotation. And player 2 seems to be good, like he's picking the spots pretty well, how to play and things like that. And then player 3, it's played a few hands, but again, he's not aggressive either. So very passive people we got at the table. And of course, since we're on this table, it looks like we got a hand we can play. So we'll see how the action goes here. Looking for probably player 6 and 5 to get in here, and then we'll probably do some kind of raising. So $3 open, and pretty self-explanatory there what you do against the more fishier guy at the table who's setting very short in his stack. You would think any hand that he's going to open for $3 is a hand he's kind of choosing, but he might be just trying to steal with the button there. But again, we're not going to get fishy with him. We're just going to go ahead and raise. And if you would probably guess anything ace jack plus, he's going to re-raise all in, and probably anything from eights, pocket eights and up, he's going to do the same there too. It's somewhat of a quiet day too. As I was trying to get everything set up and the tables up, it took a while for the tables to spawn through and actually get a few. Got on these two, the top ones first. They were kind of together, and it took a while to get the last one in. I think player 3 has been calling enough out of position to where this might be profitable for us to make this call. Any other time this guy's setting short, he's right at that verge. $40 is about the amount I want to see. So we were hoping, but we ended up getting player 4 to come along. Not too bad of a flop. We have a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw. So if it doesn't get too crazy here, just like them betting out freaking pot for no apparent reason. I guess maybe if you got a weak kicker with your queen, he's trying to scare people off, but you would have to assume he's got something along the flush draw or some type of queen besides that. But before we were hoping that they were maybe firing out like a $4 bet or something like that to where we can call, or if it goes check, maybe we can take a stab at it with the equity in our hand. We can, it's going to be sort of close to be checking to be the right play behind them because of the equity we do have in the hand. But, if we bet and we get raised, we're going to have to fold versus, where we lead out, we might get them to fold out their hands to us and just pick up the pot right then with our 9 high at that time. So it's kind of the borderline, and it just depends on the players. If like player 6 has been pretty good at like opening pots, betting, and then all of a sudden he. And here we're going to go ahead and take a stab at this pot with their king 7-7 board. And if he gets crazy down here with his stack, we're pretty much done with our jack 10. We're not going to do much with it. That board usually, and there he is checking again, and we're going to actually take another stab at it because he might be just like trying to get antsy with an ace something. And again, we're still got some room where he shoves, we just fold out. but it might be a tough spot to where he has a king. We can double barrel here. And again, if he shoves, we're getting down to that little bit of time. It's pretty comical where they get down there the last few seconds and shove. And if he does that, we kind of know. But he didn't. He folded. So that was pretty good on that part. But it's fun to see that little, I'm going to wait it out and shove, and them acting like they're weak, but then doing the play, which most of the time they have it at that time. There's some guys who are very bluffy and will do that. So decent hand here. No reason for us not to go ahead and raise it up. With him limping in, we can go ahead and take his dollar, and he's been calling a lot. And if he actually shoves, it's going to be a close one to call it. So here, him betting a dollar and then calling is a good spot for us to go ahead and bet at it. They're just going to give up so often in that hand. And up here, we do got some equity in the hand, but the guy is so short. What are we really going to get out of him by trying to make a play at him, and we're wrong? We're just going to lose the money to him. So it looks like everything gets quieting down on the tables here. So our friend, but now he's starting to get in that range where we got to move our calling range from him up in our grid so we can have better chance of beating him, where 8-7 is not going to be a hand we're going to do that with, where around about 40 I don't mind making that play against somebody who I know is going to maybe call a continuation bet and give up on the turn when you double barrel, and so you can get money that way from him, and and just give up and not really test the waters past that, because those are the guys where you make your most money, is where you don't have to get showdown as much with them. And again, we seems like we're walking around. One table has been active for a while, and then the other one is kind of give it up. A little bit looser opening, but we're kind of opening to get, well, we got a new guy here. But again, it's not, we don't have a strong hand, but we're just looking to maybe pick up the blinds, Player 4 is a decent player, and he might see this spot as a squeeze play. And if he does, it's pretty obvious what we're going to do with our hand. And then here, we're going to check. Same difference when we had our ace over there. We hit our top. It is, the king or ace could come and beat us, but not much we're going to do. But here, we're going to just see what he will do with a small, half pot bet. Thing is, if he has, the ace of spades or, maybe a king of spades or something like that, he might call another street, and that's a little bit of value where we could have picked up. And if he called, then we'll probably just maybe bet a quarter to a half pot on the river. And if he ends up shoving over the top of us, we'll probably end up folding out at that time with our kicker. Guy's too new to where we couldn't really make a decision at that time. And here we're just going to raise it up. This guy's doing a smaller open size. I think he's saying, please take it away from us. I think also he's probably trying to isolate to the bad person over here at 6. So it's a pretty decent open size for him. That's again, you shouldn't be opening at 3x from the button, unless you just got people that's in your blinds that are calling those and then giving up to a C bet at a high rate or something. And then by all means, make it $4 to open if they're doing that. It's going to come out profitable for you. And we'll probably play one more rotation here, and then we'll probably call it quits for tonight on this episode. And probably try to get another one in tomorrow sometime for you guys. And been lots of recording going on this week. Again, last week we had the mishap to where my audio interface was turned off, I guess, when the power, I had a bad storm and the power went out, and of course turned my computer off, and didn't think about the audio interface being down, and done 2 shows, and then went back to do the editing, and there was no audio. So the little bar moves across, and because I do it at such a low frequency, it's hard to tell if it's really recording. It just shows the line going across the screen. And then I go back and add in all the compression and all that we need to. Here they both, it's a $9 pot and they're both short. So we're actually going to check, even though the draw was there. The 9 comes. We are going to bet here, and if we'll probably call off. Queen Jack is a hand. We'll see what the river brings. Another 9, so that's a good card for us in case they did have it. Thing is what will he call? I'd say if he has a 9, but if he has the straight, he might just shove it on us. If he has a 9, I think he's going to put his money in there. There's that slow roll again. Interesting. Oh well, I don't think we're going to get any more money out of him in the first place. I'm actually going to let this go. We're going to watch this guy down here, and if he continues to... He's set down and he's played every hand he's played in so far. So if he continues to do that, then we're going to start popping him up when he makes those small openings like that. And again, and everything, man, this one table ended up being the one we got to talk about all the time up here, and then it just went dead. And then, of course, I say that, and we get a hand that we can open. It's a little bit on the more marginal side from our position, but it's offsuited. And if it, hopefully what we're doing is getting player 6 to come in and then getting everybody else to fold out here for us. And this will probably be our last hand. So we'll see. Maybe player 3 is going to give us some action. He does. And we hit top pair. So nothing to do here. I mean, we'll see if he try to take a stab at it. And what to do? Will he call it if we raise? Or get more money by checking? We're actually going to raise. We'll see. And then a 5. Well, if he shoves, it's going to be an interesting thing here. $12. Does he have a 5? 5-2. How about that? Yay, our last 10, and we end up losing it. That's okay. 5-2 guy. Gotta love it. So, actually, we'll play this one. Maybe we're going to leave, but, our guy, but, interesting. I mean, I guess he had an open-ended draw, so he calls and then gets the other 5 on the river. And, but I think he plays like pocket 9s and stuff like that the same way too. Especially when we check the flop, he might be saying, oh, well, he doesn't really have a hand at that time. So I think he's going to make that same bet. And this we're out of position. We got a lot of callers, and looks like we are done in the hand. So $1. That's just sad. Sad we got to fold. We got too many people after us. But all right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode of the 10K Challenge. So until next time, good luck at the tables.